What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. This video is going to be a bit different because we are going to go over my losing trades of today. Today was a very unfortunate day and I made a lot of mistakes that resulted in 3 losing trades. Now, coming from a huge winning streak, this really hurts the ego, and that is probably why I lost 3 trades instead of just 1 and calling it a day. And so I want to put this video out here to be as transparent as possible with you guys, because I know a lot of people are not transparent. They only post their winning positions when in reality you don't learn a lot from your winning positions. You learn a lot by reviewing your losing positions and going over what you did right and what you did wrong. So hopefully I can help someone out there avoid some future unnecessary losses by going over exactly what kind of mistakes I made today, because there was a lot of mistakes here and I do believe this is very valuable information. So let's get into it. So coming into the week, I was bearish until we took out this low, which I also put out on my Twitter. So once we took this low out, I kind of wanted us to hit the consistent encroachment of this weekly gap here. And so once we hit that, my sell side objective was hit and I was then looking for longs, right? So coming into today, I was bullish, but we'll go ahead and look at the market when I first looked at it this morning. So this is kind of what it looked like whenever I first came into the market this morning. Right, we were in this bigger 15-minute gap, and so what I should have done was waited to trade until we closed above this 15-minute gap, validating my bullish idea, right, my bullish bias. Unfortunately, I took 2 trades before we inverse this gap, which is a straight violation of my rules, and that also obviously resulted in losing trades. So let's go over those 2. So the first one was right here, right? Again, lack of displacement below the low here, lack of displacement below this low, and we were holding this gap very nicely, right? We failed to displace lower and we successfully displaced higher, right? We have a bullish breaker here that overlaps with a fair value gap, and that was my entry right here. My stop was at these lows and my target was at this high. And what ended up happening, I got completely humbled, right? Stopped out instantly. And there was really nothing wrong with the setup here. I was following my model exactly like I'm supposed to, so I couldn't have done anything different technically. But what I should have done was not trade AM at all. Now, why is that? Well, if we go to the Asian session and we have a look at that, we can see that Asia made a 38-point move, right? This range is 38 points long. Now, when Asia range is this big, there's a very high chance that New York AM will be very bad price action. When that is combined with the Asia low and Asia high being taken out, that makes it even worse. So if you see Asia forming a big range and Asia low and Asia high swept, please wait with trading until PM, because PM session will be a lot more clean than AM. The first mistakes was trading AM at all, right? I shouldn't have done that. But the second mistake was even trading at 9. We had high impact news at 10. And when you have high impact news in the AM, what you want to do is avoid trading until after the news has happened, because the market can be really weird and give high probability setups that fails anyway before the news impacts, right? You see it with FOMC. FOMC is typically at night. So the AM session during FOMC will be very bad. You want to wait until FOMC has happened and then you want to look for your trade, right? These news factors, that is exactly what brings volume into the market. So you want to wait till after they happened, right? We are also very close to 9:30 opening bell, so I should have also waited for that. So those are 3 mistakes that I made in this trade, right? Externally, it has nothing to do with my technical analysis. That was fine. It is just the time that it took place. Now, the second trade is where it really went wrong, right? I took a trade 10 minutes after the first one. So that was a huge mistake. And I did sleep very bad last night. Actually, I've been sleeping very bad this whole week. And a lot of you may think that that has nothing to do with trading, but it really does, because it affects your mental, and your mental is everything when it comes to trading, right? But essentially what happened was we had a low here that we failed to displace below, and we were still holding this gap. Now, I was very stuck on my bullish bias, right? So I really wanted to look for long, right? We had highs here, here. We had a lot of equal highs, right? Then we had this bullish breaker that aligned perfectly with this gap here. This was my trade here, going for a 1 to 3 RR, high probability in terms of technicals. And again, I got humbled very fast. The same mistakes again. The timing was completely off. I was irritated because I just lost I had bad sleep, and everything was just bad, right? So I should not have traded at all. Moving on to the third and final trade of the day. This was in PM session after lunch hour, so looking a bit better in terms of time. And at this point in time, we did successfully close above this gap, validating my bullish idea, right? That is what I wanted to see, and I finally got it. Violated a 15-minute gap while holding this one, right? So my drawn liquidity was in fact this high, and I was very confident that we were going to hit this high. So what I saw was a liquidity sweep here and a failure to displace lower, right? Then after this, we get huge bullish displacement. We form a little consolidation here, but then we finally break free of that with these two consecutive bullish candles, forming a fair value gap. Now, this is not something that I would typically trade. Very low probability setup here. Not something you want to do. What I was doing here was chasing the move, right? I was chasing this bullishness because I was so afraid of being left behind, because that has happened a lot this week. We've had a lot of moves like this where price just rallies without ever giving you a chance to enter. So I was chasing a move here, and it was a very, very low probability setup, but it looked like this. Stop here, target at this high, right? And this is what ended up happening. And we actually got fairly close to target. Unfortunately, I was not monitoring this trade, so that was another mistake. Had I been actively watching this trade, I would have been break even, and it wouldn't have been a problem, right? The other mistake was even trading at this time, because you don't want to be placing a trade 25 minutes after lunch hour. You want to wait a minimum of 30 minutes, so at 1:30, but the best option would be to wait till 1:50, because 1:50 to 2:10 is an ICT kill zone, and in those kill zones, there's usually higher probability setups that appears, right? So after lunch hour, I would wait, and that is what I usually do. I wait till 1:50 to even look for any trades. But again, because my mental was completely off today, I just tried to catch this move, and it ended up blowing me, right? That was my own fault, and we move on. My bias ended up being completely correct, right? I just executed very, very poorly. And again, if we look at this range here today, especially in the AM session here, you can see exactly what I mean, right? You do not want to be trading within these conditions. It just sets you up for failure, and it's not a good thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you appreciate the transparency here. I hope I can help someone out and possibly avoid some of your future losses by going over my mistakes. All of these trades were, of course, journaled. Make that a good habit. Journal your trades. Review them the day after, where you're not emotional, so you can go over your mistakes and identify exactly what you did wrong. And that was my trading today. I am still green on the week, so we are completely fine. But it was a very, very frustrating day, and I should not even have been trading at all, especially during the AM. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.